Owning your own sawmill is great, but lumber doesn't become boards until it's dried out. Last spring I spent about a week cutting a big pile of boards that I was going to use later that summer to build my garage. But you can't build anything with those boards until they've been dried, so here's how I went about doing it. We cut lumber clear until the day we had to leave, so this build went way into the night. My wife and I built these frames. Basically, it was a way to keep the wood covered while giving the lumber plenty of ventilation. We used some old lumber that we had laying around just to make a long rectangle with a support in the middle. Once we had the supports built, we put a rounded piece of timber in the center of the stack and then used ratchet straps to hold the stack together. The ratchet straps eventually would loosen up as the board shrank, but this kept everything from warping too badly. It takes some pretty long ratchet straps to go around a pile this size. Once we got the ratchet straps around the pile, then we used a chainsaw just to trim the stickers, the little pieces of wood that go between the boards, so that they wouldn't puncture the plastic. Then we took and rolled out a piece of, in this case it was black plastic, it could be any color, and spread that plastic over the top of the pile. Once the plastic was spread out, we put a few screws in it just to hold it in place in the middle. Then we spread the plastic over the top of the supports so that we could attach it to the supports. Regular screws would just rip through the plastic, so we used a little bit of furring strip to pinch the plastic between the furring strip and the support, and then just a few screws held everything together. By this point it was getting pretty dark. We also used a little bit of furring strip in the end just to keep the plastic from turning into a great big sail. Next, we added a solar power fan to the stacks just to circulate a little bit of air. We didn't actually have time to see if they were aligned correctly or anything because we had to leave early the next morning. Once everything was attached, then we just piled some big rocks onto those supports to hold them into place. And then we left for a couple of months. One of my lumber piles, and that's a problem. So, see how it fell down. This is my solar panel that cracked. Doesn't look like it's generating enough to turn that fan, but it wouldn't matter anyways because it's all falling down. So the plan was to have some air being able to flow under there to give it so it could breathe while I was gone. Not sure if that's going to be a big deal or not. I'll get those put back up. At least get some air flowing through there for now. This guy over here looks like had success on this side and this side too. So one was a complete disaster, one worked well, and one was 50-50. So mill's still here. Doing a secret on this. These boards here gave it a nice flat surface so it couldn't rock at all. I think what I'll do next time, just drive a couple of screws down in through here and make something so it won't tip. Not hearing the fan on. Probably don't have enough sun yet to turn. Oh, yeah, it's turning a little bit. It's still pretty cloudy, but it is turning a little bit. So that probably moved some air. Despite some of the supports tipping over, the lumber got dry enough that we could actually build a fire with it. So it was a big success. And yes, those boards worked perfectly for our garage build.